They treated him with contempt throughout the night, presuming that he was inferior to them. Then, he disclosed an information that rendered them completely dumbfounded. The sun was low in the sky over South Beach, Miami, and it cast golden arcs across the ocean. The beach club was a hive of activity, with the rhythmic splash of waves, the murmur of conversation, and the soft clinking of glasses, all mingling with the fragrance of salt and sunscreen. Aaron smoothed out the imperceptible creases in his crisp white shirt at one of the cabana stations located near the water. For years, he had been employed at the Azure Sands Beach Club, where he had mastered the delicate balance between attentiveness and discretion. Guests arrived anticipating flawless service and effortless charisma. However, not all individuals emulated the same level of respect in return. While he replenished the champagne flutes on a table, the sound of a hostess's laughter echoed through the air. 4 travelers had recently entered the premises, their voices resonating and their sunglasses perched on their foreheads, exuding an undeniable sense of entitlement. As if the club belonged to them, they moved past other patrons without acknowledgement. Aaron maintained his composure. He had previously encountered individuals of this nature, who perceived service personnel as invisible until they were required. The hostess directed them to a prominent oceanfront table, which was typically reserved weeks in advance. However, in locations such as this, money had a tendency to circumvent regulations. As Aaron approached, holding a notepad, a man with gelled blonde hair and a gold watch that shouted "New Money" leaned back and let out a low whistle. "Now this is service. They send the best ones to us, huh?" He smirked, nudging his companion. Aaron acknowledged his gaze but refrained from responding. He had long ago acquired the knowledge that certain males derive pleasure from attempting to elicit a response. Another individual inquired, "What is the situation, my friend?" while touching the menu without giving it much consideration. "You eat here, right?" Aaron recognized the tone, not a genuine inquiry, but a supposition that he could not possibly afford the same amenities. Aaron stated without hesitation, disregarding the lure, "The seafood platter is exceedingly well received. Fresh oysters, stone crab, and jumbo shrimp." The nose of one of the women was furrowed. She chuckled, tossing her sleek brown hair over her shoulder, and asked, "Oysters? That's what, like, a peasant thing?" Her partner laughed. "Relax, babe. Maybe it's a delicacy where he's from." Laughter erupted from the assemblage. Aaron maintained his silence, his pen poised, anticipating their genuine order. However, their mockery was only just beginning. Aaron was aware that the evening would be prolonged. Aaron stood at their table, his notepad poised, but he was already aware that this was one of those groups that treated service staff like entertainment, engaging in a game with the sole objective of feeling superior. The blond man, who his companion casually referred to as Logan, leaned back in his chair and draped an arm over the backrest as if he owned the space. His gold watch, which was oversized, shone in the lowering sun. "All right, Aaron, convince me of something that is worthwhile." His voice was characterized by the distinct quality of someone who delighted in compelling others to perform for him. "Give me your best sales pitch. What's the most premium drink you've got?" Aaron maintained his composure. "Our top-shelf options include a Louis XIII cognac, a Yamazaki 18-year whiskey, and a 1942 Don Julio, smooth, aged, premium." Logan issued a quiet whistle. "Damn, pricey. You ever tasted any of that? Or they don't let you near the expensive stuff?" The other individuals laughed. The barb was disregarded by Aaron. "We have plenty of cocktails made with premium spirits if you're looking for something custom." The woman, Madison, tilted her head, as evidenced by the manner in which her companions used her name excessively, as if they were attempting to impress her. "Oh my God, let's do something fun. Aaron, surprise us. But actually make it good." The second individual responded, "Something robust. You know, something that hits like a truck but still makes us feel like we're sipping class." A slight acknowledgement was given by Aaron. "I'll bring out something special." Logan's voice pierced the air once more as he turned. The faux concern in his voice was already irritating. Hey, Aaron." Aaron halted, but he did not reverse direction. "We're thirsty now. Make it fast." Additional amusement. Aaron walked away, sensing the gazes of those around him on his back, anticipating a response. He did not provide them with one. He could still hear them conversing by the time he arrived at the bar. Their voices were not muffled, they desired for him to hear them. Logan laughed. "Damn, man, did you see how serious he is? Chill out, bro. You're serving drinks, not running a Fortune 500 company." Madison exhaled. "I know, right? He talks like he's giving a TED Talk on cocktails. Drew, the third individual, who had been relatively silent until this point, let out a low snicker. You think he actually drinks this stuff, or he just memorizes the menu? Logan's lips curled upward. Oh, please. Dude's probably never had a real drink in his life. I bet he goes home and drinks, like, Hennessy with Sprite or something. The table erupted in laughter. Aaron maintained his composure while standing at the bar. The bartender, who was also present during the conversation, raised an eyebrow. Do you wish for me to manage this matter? He inquired quietly. Aaron shook his head. I got it. Crafting a series of custom concoctions with the precision of a master, he meticulously selected the spirits. I would not object to their decision to evaluate him. He would provide them with an item that would immediately silence them. However, he was aware that the beverages were not yet prepared as he placed them on the tray. Additionally, they were bound to exceed their limits at some point. Aaron returned to the table and deposited the beverages with the same effortless grace that he had honed over the years. The glasses were masterfully crafted, elegant, and balanced, as they glistened in the golden hour light. He had selected flavors that were both refined and intricate, a combination that would only be appreciated by a true connoisseur. However, Logan's grin expanded as soon as he took a drink. And that was never a favorable indication. Logan dramatically coughed and set the glass down in exaggerated disdain. Oh man, he exclaimed. What is this? Some kind of science experiment? Madison exhaled in mockery after taking a taste of her beverage. Whoa. Did you just put random expensive stuff together and hope for the best? Drew participated in the game by swirling his beverage and inhaling it. It's got that artisanal, handcrafted, I tried too hard kind of taste. The beach club was filled with merriment as the group's voices echoed throughout. However, no one spoke up, despite a few visitors in the vicinity turning their heads. In locations such as this, the unwritten rule was straightforward: if one possessed money, they were free to behave as they pleased. Aaron maintained his composure. He had previously observed this ritual, which involved mocking the service, making it a joke, and transforming the individual into a spectacle. Logan once more retrieved his beverage, displaying it in a manner reminiscent of a professor dissecting a failed experiment. Come on, Aaron, be honest, man. You really drink stuff like this? I do, Aaron replied with a suave tone, concealing no information. Logan grinned as he approached. Or is this similar to a script that is required to be memorized? Because, I mean, he allowed the words to linger in the air, gazing at Aaron upwards. Aaron was acutely aware of the implications of his statement. The unspoken implications that a black man in a luxury setting must not belong, that he could not possibly have a refined palate, and that this world was not supposed to be as were evident to him, as he had been in this industry for a long time. Madison whispered something that caused Logan to chuckle as he leaned toward him. Then, she turned to Aaron and faked a sulk. She repeated his name as if it were a jest, saying, "Don't be angry, Aaron." Drew grinned and nodded. Yeah, man, no need to get all serious. You should lighten up. Aaron's head inclined slightly as he examined their visages. They were no longer amused by the beverages, rather, they were chuckling at him. Also, they desired for him to respond. He had previously observed it. Individuals of this nature derive pleasure from disrupting someone's equilibrium and determining the extent to which they could get away with it. Therefore, Aaron performed an action that was unexpected. He grinned. You are correct, he replied with ease. I should lighten up. Let's have some fun. They appeared bewildered for a brief period. Logan, however, smiled. Now we're talking. However, they were unaware that Aaron was about to dictate the terms of the entertainment. Logan, who was certain that he had Aaron exactly where he wanted him, leaned back and flashed an arrogant grin. The remaining members of the group relaxed, anticipating that this would result in another round of amusing humiliation at Aaron's expense. However, Aaron had a different objective in mind. He examined Logan's beverage in the fading sunlight. You know, Logan, he said, rolling the glass between his fingertips, I believe I may have made a mistake with your order. Logan's eyebrows were elevated. Oh yeah? Aaron's voice was suave and informal, and he nodded. Yeah. See, this drink, this right here, it's not for everyone. Logan's expression was briefly bewildered. Not for everyone? Aaron grinned. It's an acquired taste, the kind of thing you appreciate when you've developed a certain refinement. He repositioned the beverage in front of Logan. It's not about money. You can buy $1,000 bottle, but that doesn't mean you know what to do with it. Logan exhibited a slight smirk, despite Madison's slight disdain. Drew adjusted in his seat. Aaron shifted his focus to Madison. You ever had a wine pairing that actually made sense? One where the sommelier took time to explain why this specific vintage complements the dish? Madison blinked. Well, yeah, obviously. Aaron nodded. And did you appreciate it, or did you just pretend to? Madison attempted to speak, but she was unable to articulate any words. Aaron chuckled gently and shook his head. It's funny. People love to flaunt wealth, throw out big names, Louis XIII, Yamazaki 18, Dom Perignon, but ask them what makes it special? Silence. He leaned in slightly, allowing the burden of his words to settle between them, and his voice was slightly lowered. Luxury isn't about what you can buy. It's about what you understand. Logan's mandible contracted. Aaron adjusted his shackles and smiled as he straightened. So if you don't like the drink, that's fine. Maybe it's just not meant for you. A moment's silence at the table was excessively prolonged. Madison shifted in her perch. Drew's gaze was diverted. Logan, who had been regarding Aaron as a joke throughout the entire evening, unexpectedly found himself on the other side of the table. But Aaron was not finished. He gingerly placed the untouched glass of water on the table in front of Logan. Here. Maybe start with this. A rhythm. Subsequently, tender mirth emanated from a nearby table. Someone had overheard. Logan's face was briefly illuminated by the revelation, and a flush began to rise up his neck. He was the punchline for the first time that evening. Additionally, it was not to his liking. Logan's fingers tightened around the glass as he clenched his mandible. The air surrounding the table had changed, the smug expressions, the easy hilarity, were all gone. Madison's eyes darted between Aaron and Logan as if she were anticipating a moment when someone would speak, thereby resetting the power dynamic. She drummed her nails against the table. Drew, who had been more reserved than the others, abruptly exhaled and feigned a chuckle. All right, man, you got jokes. I respect that. Despite the fact that Aaron smiled, it was not contrived. No jokes? Just the truth. Logan lowered his voice as he leaned forward. You think you're better than us or something? Aaron maintained an unwavering composure. I think you assumed I wasn't. Silence. A waiter passed by, placing a new plate on an adjacent table. The tension at the table was entirely unaffected by the constant rhythm of the ocean waves. Madison dramatically exhaled, seeking an exit. Whatever. Can we just get the check? Aaron nodded. Of course. Stepping aside, he departed. However, rather than proceeding directly to the bar, he made a slight detour. He paused for a brief conversation as he walked past another guest, a well-dressed elderly man in his 60s. Aaron was greeted by the man in a manner reminiscent of an old acquaintance, who extended a firm handshake before nodding toward the table. Aaron returned a few minutes later and positioned the bill between Logan and Drew. Logan acquired it with an exaggerated sneer. Sheesh. Glad my card has no limit. However, his expression was frozen as he examined the receipt. Madison extended his arm over his shoulder. What is it? Logan's lips were squeezed together in a tight line. He declined to respond, however, his expression was a combination of bewilderment and a sense of almost regret. Drew extracted the receipt from his possession and read it aloud. All drinks calmed. With appreciation from the owner. Madison shook her head. Wait, what? Who's the owner? Aaron took a step back, enabling them to observe the elder man in the VIP section with whom he had just conversed. Aaron's voice was composed, but his words were delivered with exactitude. You have only recently encountered him. That's my father. Logan's grin dissipated. Madison's mandible relaxed. Aaron was visibly taken aback, even by Drew, who had endeavored to maintain his composure. Aaron's tone was casual, but his words were deliberate. He continued. He started this place 25 years ago. He was a bartender before that. Learned the craft, built something from nothing. And I've spent my whole life here. Logan received a courteous gesture from him. So yeah, I know a thing or two about taste. Madison ingested. You mean Aaron grinned. I run the club with him. I just like working the floor sometimes. Keeps me grounded. Logan shifted uneasily. He appeared to be in the process of uttering a statement, however, the words were not forthcoming. Aaron's cranium was slightly tilted. Still think I don't belong here? Logan's lips parted, but no words emerged. And that silence, that was more valuable than any gratuity he could offer. The roles had been reversed. This time, they were unable to respond with a clever retort. Logan appeared uneasy for the first time in the course of the evening. No, I am not smug or furious, I am simply out of sorts. His confidence had been diminished, and he was now gazing at Aaron. He had entirely misjudged the individual, not as a target or as a joke. Drew was the first to interrupt the silence, as he shifted in his seat. He shook his head and let out a half laugh, half exhale. Damn. That's crazy. Madison, who was still in a state of disbelief, gazed between Aaron and the VIP section, where his father was seated. Wait. So you're, like, rich? Aaron emitted a diminutive shrug. My family did well, but money doesn't mean much if you don't respect the people who make places like this run. Madison promptly straightened her hair, as if she had abruptly realized that she had been conversing with an individual who held genuine power. Oh, well, I mean, we were just joking, you know. She smiled nervously. Nothing personal, Aaron maintained a neutral demeanor. Personal or not, it says a lot about a person when they think respect is optional. Madison promptly averted her gaze, concentrating on her nails. Logan was still holding the receipt when he let out a dry chuckle. Damn, man, you really set us up for that one. Aaron shook his head. I didn't set you up. You walked into it yourself. Logan's grin was shaky. He was aware that it was accurate. Drew finally let out a sigh and began to massage his temples. All right, well. That was humbling. Aaron returned the check presenter to their direction. We comped the drinks, but the tip's on you. His tone was gentle, yet it contained an undercurrent, an implicit examination. Would they depart with an air of superiority, or would they depart with a newfound understanding? Logan glanced at his companions before retrieving his wallet. He did not make a spectacle of it for the first time that evening. There was no arrogant commentary or flashy gestures, only a quiet acceptance. The booklet was closed after he inserted a bundle of crisp bills. Aaron retrieved it, bowed, and proceeded to depart without uttering another word. When he arrived at the bar, the bartender extended his arm. They finally shut up? Aaron's lips curled upward. They learned to listen. The bartender shook his head and chuckled. I'll drink to that. Logan remained seated at their table, gazing out at the ocean in stillness. The group, which was previously animated by hilarity, was now in a state of tranquility. Because for the first time, they were not the ones who were recounting the narrative. The lesson was imparted to them. Aaron stepped away from the floor, observing the final rays of light dance on the waves as the sun sank below the horizon, transforming the sky into a deep shade of orange and purple. The visitors, who had arrived in a loud, arrogant, and untouchable manner, were now subdued as the evening rush was settling. Their energy had undergone an entirely different transformation. They were not incensed. They were not amused. They were simply silent. Logan, Drew, and Madison rose from their seats and began to gather their belongings. Logan cast one final glimpse toward the VIP section, where Aaron's father was seated, sipping a tranquil beverage. The individual who had constructed the club into which he had entered, Logan assumed he was in a position of superiority. However, at this time, Logan now resembled an individual who had been presented with a mirror rather than a menu. Drew gave Aaron a slight nod as they passed the bar. A genuine acknowledgement, not forced or derisive. Aaron returned it. Madison, who was still striving to preserve her dignity, offered a brief, uncomfortable smile before hastily catching up. Logan did not utter a word. However, the expression on his face was sufficient. Aaron breathed in slowly. He had encountered numerous individuals who were similar to them in the past, individuals who believed that their wealth rendered them infallible and that their status rendered them superior. However, character cannot be acquired through financial means. Respect is not imparted through financial incentives. And they had discovered that the hard way tonight. The bartender leaned over the counter with a smirk as he turned back toward the ocean. Think they'll ever act like that again? Aaron laughed. Maybe not here. The bartender shook his head. I'd call that a win. Aaron glanced at the empty table for a final time before returning to his work, his demeanor remaining composed. Ultimately, he did not require their approval. He had already emerged victorious. Respect is not determined by the possession of the most money, the prettiest watch, or the most desirable seat at the table. The treatment of the individuals who serve it is the primary concern. Because eventually, everyone realizes that status is meaningless if one does not possess the character to match it.